Back from halftime, we're going to start with a segment we like to call Why, Brian, Why. We're going to turn it over to him now, just to see what he has to say.
All right, there are two things that I do not agree with in football right now. And number one is the commercial timeout.
Okay.
The timeout whenever we have a commercial.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Well, for starters, let's go with my original reason back before I was uninformed about it.
Right.
I believe it makes us look like complete and total pussies compared to rugby players who already play without pads.
Gotcha.
I mean, we're taking timeouts every, 15 minutes at the very least?
At least, yeah, it's probably less than that, 10.
4 or 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
The other things I have against it, I feel like though it lessens the chance of injury by keeping players from being fatigued, it lessens play times for second stringers.
Sure.
All right? If you're having a timeout every 15 minutes, your first string's not getting as tired, and therefore your second string isn't getting the playtime they deserve. You're not getting as deep a team as you can have.
But I think a bigger issue is it does interrupt the flow of the game.
It does.
Very much so.
And with a lot of teams moving to a faster paced offense nowadays. I mean, again, I'm not that educated on this subject. That's my own fault. But can they call a timeout like that if a team is driving and it's just...
The thing is they're actually regulated 20 per game.
So it has to be
10 and 10 and a half.
Okay.
It has to be.
Right, and they only do it when there is a natural play stoppage.
Yes.
So if a team's moving downfield and the clock's still running, they're not going to call a timeout.
Right.
There will be no TV timeouts.
Okay.
But as soon as there's an
Education
incomplete pass or a penalty or anything that would naturally stop the game, that's when they call it a TV timeout.
Right. Let's
and
go to commercial.
prevent the hurry-up offense from going on anyway.
And only two are mandatory. Only two. It says here the only two mandatory are the end of the quarter and the 2-minute warning. Those are
Anything
two
else?
mandatory.
Does it tell you who calls them? Is it the ref's job, or does somebody radio?
It's actually an agreement. I guess an agreement with the thing that you have to realize is NFL is on a network.
Yeah.
The network only makes money if there's viewers.
Right.
And advertising. So the network's going to run their stuff. So
they don't make any money off of it.
Rather than there be a rather than they're driving and somebody cuts a commercial and the play's happening, they bring you in
halfway through. Oh my God!
Halfway through the play.
Hate that.
The timeout is there to make sure there is no stop. There's no miss. You don't miss the play.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
well, you still miss the play. I can go back to what was it, 2009? The Miami Dolphins went 1-15, and it was against the Ravens, and we were driving. We were driving down, and it cuts to commercial. I come back, the Dolphins scored and won the game, and no clue what happened. No clue what happened. I had to watch it on the replay.
You were shit. How many people were watching?
Oh, shut up.
Jason?
We're not going to get into a Dolphins Cowboys discussion. That's a whole other
I'm talking Dolphins NFL.
Whatever, man. All right.
And I understand the need for money. Things don't get televised unless the network makes money to pay for all the broadcasting and for all the CEO salaries. But let's not get into a Occupy football conversation. But commercials could be who the hell watches the halftime show? Let's put more commercials in the halftime show.
So
it is already very commercial laden.
Yeah, it really is.
If you add more commercials, then you're going to have a 20-minute commercial.
You have the guy.
Good. Let's have one sponsor do a 20-minute commercial, pay enough for the entire thing. I've seen on network television movies presented commercial free by Pontiac.
This is Ron Popillo doing your halftime show, selling you the Pocket Fisherman.
The NBA right now is actually exploring putting advertisements on their jersey.
That's dumb.
Putting a logo of some company or anything like that on the jersey. And I mean, that doesn't really tie into the commercial aspect of it, but it ties into the money making.
Right.
So maybe if that happens, we don't need as many commercials?
I doubt they're going to add that revenue on top of the existing revenue.
Doesn't matter.
They're not going to replace revenue.
No,
they're going to add revenue
to it.
I think the thing is that the networks are what determine it.
Yeah.
Even during the game, if say the networks need to catch up on a schedule of commercials, they have the legality to call the timeout.
And even, I mean, and you know, the networks are paying buku's money to the NFL to have that.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way they have the right to say, hey, you know, we gave you $350 million to have all these AFC games or NFC games, whatever it is. We're going to have our 20
because you understand that those companies, Miller High Life, or whoever is paying the network buku's amount of money to have their advertisement during the game.
Yeah. Because whatever $350 million they pay to the NFL, they're making 2 or 3 times as much off advertising.
So it has to be there. And granted, it does break the flow of the game up. And granted, it does kind of make the games long.
Well, let's take a Division II game for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to Texas State before they got big.
Right.
There's still breaks. Why? Because even the university-run radio stations have to break because of advertising.
Okay. Well, what about? And of course, this doesn't answer the radio problem. And I know my 20-minute long halftime show is unrealistic because I just said no one watches halftime. Right. You're not getting anyone to watch a commercial. I went to Waterloo Burgers the other day. They had their TV, DirecTV, in order to have it in there, had on all 4 sides advertisements. Why can't, in addition to that, for regular network viewers, why can't we have a bottom bar of advertisement running all through the game where you're getting subliminal, you're not getting interrupted, you're making your revenue, your commercial sponsors are getting more than their time.
Yeah, they are running all the time.
But if I'm buying a 60-inch TV, I'm not buying a 60-inch TV to watch my game on a 52-inch screen.
True, but
I think.
Or how would you feel if you were watching a movie at home and they're advertising all your movie?
All right, let's not get into
that's a damn good point. That's a damn good point.
First of all, there's product placement.
I know that. There's product placement at the games too. Watch around the outline. Watch anywhere in that stadium. There's product placement.
Hey, when a player's how big is that G of Gatorade on those water bottles?
Second of all, the problem you're discussing is already out there for movies, and that is commercial advertisements mixed into the trailers when you're already paying to go see the movie.
Right.
Are already that interruption, and I am against them as well.
Yeah, if you watch soccer, you watch rugby, they project ad logos onto the field for the television broadcast.
Right.
Which
you watch the NHL, you watch the NBA.
Hell, you watch the AFL.
They have rotating billboards in front of the scorers table.
Even baseball has that behind home plate where it switches and switches.
But these are all things that I would rather have than commercial breaks and commercial timeouts.
But once again, they're not going to replace the commercial breaks.
Yeah.
They're going to find ways to
Something
add to
more.
that.
Of course, because as I just said, money makes the world go round, and why not make more? But God, it interrupts the flow of the game, and it absolutely.
Oh, I agree with that.
I think with updates in technology, you know, maybe more people start watching it on the iPad or on your phone or wherever it is, they will find ways to advertise to you and cut down commercials, but it's not going to go away.
Let me go back to one point you made, Brian. Right in the very beginning, you compared NFL football players to rugby players. Okay, yeah, rugby players don't wear pads, and they play full contact. However, in the NFL, your guys are twice as big, twice as fast. They hit 4 times as hard. It is a tougher sport in the end.
I think overall, we don't like it, but then she can
It's
do
something
that.
that has to stay. I know.
You got anything else for us, Brian?
I do. I want to talk about the illegal formation penalty, which I also disagree with. Today's edition of Why Brian Why is things Brian disagrees with.
It's also brought to you by.
Tune in next week when Brian discusses famous movie plays from sports that wouldn't work in real life. But today we're talking about things.
Wait, was that just an advertisement that interrupted the flow?
I like to think what is the illegal formation penalty? I have it written down here, but I see you looking it up over there.
Go ahead and give us the actual definition of an illegal formation penalty.
I think we both have it up here. There's for NCAA and NFL, not high school, no more than 4 in the backfield.
Okay. That means 7 on
the line.
It expands itself to NFL and high school call it when there are fewer than 7 players lined up on the line of scrimmage.
Right.
More than 4 players in the backfield is NCAA only. And eligible receivers fail to line up as the leftmost or rightmost player on the line.
And you have to report in.
Or when 5 properly numbered ineligible players fail to line up on the line.
Numbers 50 through 79.
All right. So for the basics, we're going to break it down to you have to have at least 7 players on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Right.
That's basically where we're starting. What's wrong with that, Brian?
What's wrong with that? Okay. Well, actually, let me say what's okay with that.
Okay.
The pros of that system are that it provides structure for everyone to follow along with. Every team plays the same, and it provides safety. The reason I'm against it is it stifles creativity and it makes things too predictable.
Have you ever
as you were mentioning before about we're going to run 6 out of the spread play or 3 out of the spread play. What if there was no spread play?
There'd be chaos.
And
I would be perfectly okay with the spread going away entirely.
Oh yeah, but that's in here then. That's
But
conversation.
non-standard lineups, they force the defensive linemen to be better, have better awareness, have better eyes for what's going on. It forces the defensive play caller to not only come up with better defensive plays, but to have a better eye as well. It widens the gulf between man and zone. If you've got 12 on the line and you're assuming that it's these guys are receivers, you're going to run something more zony than Manny, and if you get a run out of that, it's a huge disadvantage.
So the guy who loves Oregon's offense, so
Yep,
he wants to
there
have
it is
offense
right
over Mark.
The guy who likes to
Let me
play
ask you
Oregon
this, Brian.
wants-
If we didn't have the illegal formation rule, how many guys would you have on the line of scrimmage at a minimum for quarterback protection, for backfield protection?
Lined up on the ball.
However many was necessary for the play.
That doesn't make sense.
Well,
No. There's a minimum that makes sense. You can't just put a
Right, you're
center
trying to give up
and
pocket.
2 guards up there.
because
You
you
want
got
to create a pocket.
we're going to line 6 guys up on defense, and we're going to get to the quarterback before we can throw the ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are looking at a minimum of 5 guys, usually 6, right there on the ball.
Right.
A center, 2 tackles, 2 guards, and a tight end. That only leaves 1 wide receiver
Yeah.
to make your 7 men.
And I see that. If you only have 3 or 4 receivers, then yeah, you're going to want to be in that pocket long enough to find an open one. If you've got 6 receivers, you've got short plays down the middle, you've got...
Not with a 3-man line.
Not with your man line.
Not even with a 4-man line.
Yeah,
You're also banking against the athleticism of the defense.
I mean,
you're
maybe
assuming they're not going to cover your 6 receivers.
yeah, maybe that works in the NCAA with like a really, really stud team that can. I mean, not the 3 guys can block 6 guys. I
Right,
understand the
Right,
point
no,
of
no,
that.
no, and I get that.
But I get what you're saying. Is like you can't just put 3 guys on the line.
What-
they're gonna get your quarterback,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get your
Absolutely.
quarterback
Oh,
every
what
time.
if you're playing in snow? Your receivers all trip.
Yeah.
What if you're playing in rain and you drop the ball? There's so many what if factors that go into that whole thing
Okay.
that and it's, as for stifling creativity, I'm pretty sure Oregon has shown us that creativity can happen within the structure of things.
Now,
Absolutely. And-
now I had 2 notes on my card. I had this listed as the impractical reason.
Okay.
The practical reason goes to that 5 ineligible receivers and how they have to be numbered 50 through 79. At the very least, I would like to take that away. I would like you not to know how many of those guys are out there to block and how many are out there to receive. And sure, you can look at them and say, I don't think that guy is an offensive lineman.
Except for the fact that every player that walks up to the line has to declare eligibility before the start of the play.
Yeah, that's the rule. That's a completely different rule than that.
Really?
They have to
Yeah.
declare eligibility.
The sports education of Brian Evans, ladies and gentlemen. I see the safety issue and the lineman issue, but I feel that the origins are arbitrary.
I agree with the safety issue because if you allow like an offensive tackle a yard and a half off the line
Yeah.
to start there and then have that defense blow off, I mean he's got a second or a second and a half to react and just
Right.
grab that guy, throw him over in.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. But I agree with the rule.
But with defenses being bigger and faster these days,
Yeah.
is that extra step going to be enough anyway?
That's true. I mean, and you look at a linebacker that can blitz or a safety that can blitz and can come running straight towards that line.
Right.
And the offensive line is right there, and he has to react to not only his
Well, okay.
defensive guy
You've
coming.
swayed me. Card torn.
Right there.
I'm still back. Hey, I didn't tear up the commercial timeout card though. I just put it away because we were done talking about
I mean,
it. But I am tearing up illegal formation.
It's a penalty that's rarely called.
Right.
Regardless of whether you agree with it or not, it's not going to sway a game.
I mean,
Oh, wait,
12
no,
men
I
on
get
the
that.
field is a bigger issue
Yeah.
than illegal formation.
Or even illegal motion, some guy moving towards.
And it's not just
Moving
like-
forward instead of
It's not going to
parallel.
stifle creativity because 4 years ago we had the Wildcat, or longer than that, but we had the Wildcat
Oh,
brought
gosh.
in, which while we hate it, was still brought in. It's
It was
still
brought in.
showing-
Hey, we want a division title with that, don't we?
it's still creative, and now you have Oregon. Chip Kelly is showing us that even within the regular structure of the game, you can still be creative.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
Well, the
creative.
Wildcat had its place
It did.
for a year.
It won, and it won.
Yeah.
and then everybody figured it out. So it's kind of like, what's next? You have this set parameter of rules that you can only do such with. Okay, that's fine. Be creative. Figure something out.
That to me enhances creativity because you're staying within the guidelines.
That makes you a good coach.
This is all I have, so I have to think of something creative to do that.
And we've been playing this game for dozens upon dozens upon dozens of years. Who's going to be the next guy to come up with something different?
Right.
So I've been complaining about illegal formation for years. They never made this good an argument. We were just drinking and not on camera.
Yeah. Well, when we're on camera, we straighten up a little bit.
They're a little smarter.
So we talked a lot about Texas sports. That's our main focus. There's no doubt about that. Again, if you disagree with us or if you have something to say, there's a little comment thing right there on the bottom. Post it up. We'll all be around. We'll check it. We'll see. Yeah. We're going to go national now, and I think if there's one headline story in the national news... International, yeah.
The soap opera.
It's Oscar Pistorius.
The saga of Lil Tink Tink.
Yeah, Lil Tink Tink, said Cat Williams. Oscar Pistorius, if you don't know, the South African Olympian, double amputee, the Blade Runner, they call him, had the blades, and he did the Olympics, didn't do well, whatever. Anyway.
He didn't do well. He placed like 6th in the event. He's the 6th fastest guy in the world, and he has no legs.
So he did not do
He's
well.
got metal on his legs.
He did not do well.
He doesn't have lactic acid fatiguing his calves, Shane. You know what? If there's one sport I can speak on, ladies and gentlemen, it is running.
You would not know that by his current state.
I was once 135 pounds and part of a 2-time state champion, 2-time state runner-up running team. Thank you.
So,
you have both of your legs. When's the last time you ran in the Olympics?
Exactly.
Let me sound smart now instead of an idiot like I did during Why Brian Why. February 14th, Valentine's Day this year, 2013. This is the story agreed upon by both the defense and the I almost said
prosecution.
You mean the
we got into sports. We got into sports talking in.
By the defense attorney and the prosecuting attorney.
Defense attorney.
In the morning, Oscar Pistorius wakes up. He hears something in the bathroom. He takes the time to put on his legs, get his gun, walk to the bathroom, and shoot through the door. Now, he claims he believed his girlfriend, Reva Stenkamp, 29-year-old model, South Africa, he claims he believed she was in the bed next to him the whole time. Keep in mind, took the time to put his legs on,
grab the gun,
and tink on over to the bathroom door.
I don't understand about that, where if I'm sitting in the bed and I'm putting my legs on, I don't go, hey babe, did you hear that?
There's someone in the house.
Did you maybe?
Or at least hey baby, don't get up.
Don't stay here. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
If I heard something, I mean, just being in bed with your wife or your girlfriend or your whoever you're with, and you hear something outside or you hear a jingle on the door, you're gonna say, "Hey, wake up," because you're gonna need that second witness.
Yeah.
Right. Or at least to say, "Did you hear that?"
Right. Maybe I was imagining in my head.
Well, you don't want her wandering into any trouble.
Right. You've heard that. I've read the articles and read everything that says well he was concerned with safety, but that regardless, wouldn't your first priority be with a woman you're in love with? Is her safety?
No doubt about it.
Because what if that person had come in and kidnapped her and locked her in the bathroom, and then why if I was a robber would I lock myself in the bathroom?
Well, it's simple, Joe. In the end,
nobody, robber or resident, wants to be walked in on the restroom.
My friends, ladies and gentlemen, my friends.
Pistorius' story has no legs. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I mean, I read the articles and I am a bit stumped.
Well, here's the thing. How long does it take to put on legs?
Okay, and then
you don't notice she's not laying.
I'm pretty sure he does it one leg at a time. Here.
Why?
The defense is about to run out of steam. I mean,
why is okay? Let's say you put the legs on, you grab the gun, you're going to the bathroom stall. Do you not say anything? Or you're not like, hey, I've got a gun. Hey, who's there? Is anybody there? Hey.
Well, the articles I'll say, and even in the reports coming from the court, say that he shouted at the bathroom door and got no response.
That's bullshit.
And I'm sorry. If you yell, I have a gun, like, dude, I'm sorry.
I'm taking a dump.
If I'm like with the girlfriend, I'm like, honey, it's me. I'm in the bathroom.
But it goes back to why would your first priority not be to make sure she was okay? Why are you lying?
Well, okay. So we can agree, the ball was dropped on the honey in the bed next to me thing.
It doesn't make any
She
sense.
shoots through the door 4 times with a 9mm. 3 of them hit her.
Right.
According to the lead investigator, Hilton Botha, which is just a totally awesome Star Wars type of name.
Nice.
And we'll talk about that guy in a couple of minutes. The shots were fired angled downwards and towards the toilet.
Which means he got his legs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that he got his legs. We know he got his legs. He admits he got his legs. Why are you aiming towards the toilet for an intruder? Why are you assuming that your intruder is taking a dump?
I mean, you're in the roll of the toilet paper. That makes noise.
I would assume that the intruder is where the door can't be seen. If he's hiding in there, he's over in the shower where you can't get to.
Regardless of the fact that intruder or no intruder, if he would have shot the intruder and killed him, it's still murder. Because it is still murder because he gave no proper warning, and he did not acknowledge and So it's a wall.
And it's South
Now,
Africa.
granted, it is South Africa. The rules are probably a little different.
This is true.
They're probably stricter.
We do need to take into account that this is South Africa, and none of us at this table are defending Pistorius whatsoever.
No.
He's an asshole. Should fry in the chair. He'd be dead by now if he was in Texas.
Yeah.
But it is South Africa. Their crime rate is bazillion times higher than pretty much anywhere. So I understand, and even if we go back to basically the boss of the lead investigator got taken off of it.
Oh, let's talk about this guy.
Oh boy! And when you talk about South Africa,
attempted murder charges. That's why he got taken off the case.
That's the officer who's investigating this guy.
Which, like I said before, this is exactly the kind of guy you want investigating a murder because this guy knows how it's done.
It has punched holes in a lot of the lead investigators. Witnesses. That it was 1,000 yards away. Then he was just originally 500 yards away.
Then he's 300.
He was right next door. Then he was in the room. But they punch holes in that, and that could be why he walks. And then you go back and you hear that Pistorius has a history of violence towards women.
Yeah.
There has been a former girlfriend that complained about it.
September 13th, 2009.
There has been a girlfriend that's complained about it. Said he
What was her name and occupation, Brian?
I don't know, but he slammed the door on her, not in her face, on her.
But then you have this stuff going on, so it's possible that he didn't do it. But yeah, he may get to walk because it's the investigator. You drop the ball.
That's a sad thing.
I mean, he is already out on bail.
Yeah.
And he's not a flight risk. Where are you gonna go?
Actually, they deemed him. They didn't deem him a flight risk. His bail was $1 million South African dollars, which
translates into what?
Which was about
$113,000. He murdered. This is OJ level stuff.
It is, and actually,
$113,000 bail. That is ridiculous.
It was. I think it was the Dan Patrick show. They brought like the SI swimsuit models, and they were talking, and one of them was South Africa. And they basically said it relates. Oscar Pistorius is the LeBron James of South Africa. He's the biggest thing ever to come out of there. He's the biggest name. Everyone knows who he is. This is gonna be. Fun and fun.
Okay.
I mean, that's fun. It'll be interesting to watch.
It will be. It'll be very interesting.
It'll be OJ level interesting to see what comes out.
Let's just not look at his history of violence or South Africa's history of violence with the lead investigator having 7 attempted murder charges for shooting into a bus. Let's look at the fact that his brother is on trial for, in 2008, near Johannesburg, South Africa, killing a woman on a motorcycle while driving.
But didn't she hit him?
No, according to what I heard on the internet, and we all know everything we hear on the internet
is true.
On the internet.
Yes, that's why everything we say is true.
Exactly.
Where's he staying while he's out on bail? He can't return to his house because it's a crime scene.
Right.
They've taken his passport, obviously, because he's a flight risk.
Motel 6, South Africa.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm pretty sure they do impound his legs. It's a getaway.
We're gonna need those. Hey, give us the blades too. You move faster on those.
Right. But
here's 2 wooden pegs. Use those.
It'll be.
Well, he has
It'll be
parents. He's
interesting
probably
to
staying
watch.
with his parents.
It'll be interesting. But for now, I think we're gonna round out the show. Our fallen comrade. He's not fallen. He's still here. Jordan couldn't be with us today. I don't know why. I mean, it sounds dramatic, right?
it does. I was about to say
Kinda
what?
wanted to blow us a little bit.
He's not here, so we're gonna talk about the Astros.
Oh, my Houston Astros.
So we're not going to give Jordan a chance to ever.
We're not. I mean, hey, if he decides to show up one of these days, he can defend them. But as of now,
It's our first show.
they're shedding
I
payroll.
can't
They
discuss
got.
this because I don't believe the Astros exist anymore. They closed Astroworld. My childhood is dead.
Shedding is not the correct term. They've already shed the payroll prior to the sale.
Maybe
Fair
ejected.
Unfortunately, the only talent we have in the majors is Jose Altuve. The Astros are talking about shopping him around to hang our hat on
Altuve's a top 10 second baseman.
Yeah.
Going back there.
But
Yeah,
sure.
there's a beer here somewhere.
The only other prospect we have beyond Delano DeShields is George Springer in the outfield.
Is DeShields who they just took in the draft? Right? Or he's
Yes.
been there for a while?
Yeah, he's brand new.
They're projecting him what? Shortstop, outfield?
Second base.
Second base. All right.
Second base.
So you have Altuve, who's not going to move.
Altuve will not move.
No.
Probably what's going to happen, they're going to shop him out, get what they can in prospects for him while he's still hot.
Fair enough.
While we rebuild the farm system, bring everything from the ground up.
What?
There's no farm system. I mean,
Exactly. There is no farm
start a
system.
farm system.
The Astros haven't had anything in their farm system for 8-10 years,
Yeah,
which is what's showing now.
Altuve is the first guy to come out that has gone through the system.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, the last two they drafted that came out were Berkman and Lidge.
Yeah.
12 years ago.
97, 98.
I mean, that's going back a long way.
I'm saying, you look at the gaps. Yeah.
Yeah, and Berkman made his pro debut in 2000,
Yeah.
I believe it was.
And
Lidge
we
later
can't talk about him without talking about the big time move. I mean, it's not a big deal to anybody but Astro fans, maybe or solid baseball fans. But they're in the AL now. Yeah, they got to move. They got to move to the AL West.
Why?
I don't like it.
I don't think it does the Astros justice.
It
at all.
doesn't.
And it's not. Why did they not put the Brewers back where they?
Oh my God! I was thinking that's exactly the next words out of my mouth.
Why did they move
Bud
the Brewers?
Selig? Because
Why
Bud
did
Selig.
they? Right, Bud Selig. The number one problem with baseball in the first place.
Bud Selig.
Beyond the fact
Bud
that
Selig is the commissioner of baseball.
major
What's
players.
that, dude, that argument is Roger Goodell for the NFL.
Right.
And then,
No.
Yeah.
Bud Selig was the owner.
Bud Selig was the majority owner for the Brewers. He took over when Bart Giamatti died back in the late 80s.
Okay.
And has done nothing but continually run baseball into the ground.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why he didn't want to move the Brewers over to the AL, because he doesn't want to take his team from the NL to the AL.
Okay, now I'm not going to defend what Pete Rose did here. I mean, what he did was wrong.
Right.
Betting on baseball. Actually, what was worse, because of the fact he was betting on baseball, was when he no-bet, that was a bet to lose.
Yeah.
So that was really what the big issue was. However, the only reason he's still banned from being in the Hall of Fame, that was the last move that Bart Giamatti made before he died. And Bud Selig refuses to overturn it because it was the last move Bart Giamatti made.
Yeah. And
That's a whole another show, but I mean, he deserves to be there. He's the all-time hits leader.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's bring back to the Astros.
And the Astros. We talked about this. We talked about this before we even started filming. But the Astros from 1979 to 2006, right? Yeah, were one of the most successful franchises.
The Killer Bees, man.
The Killer Bees.
God, they were good.
I mean-
The only player I will never recognize as a Killer Bee was Sean Barrett.
He was that out. But you look at
He was there a long time.
Look at, yeah.
I gotta ask. Tell me about the Killer Bees.
the Killer Bees.
Biggio, Bagwell, Bell, Barry were your
Oh, yeah.
original
They
Killer
were
Okay.
they were studs. They hit home runs. They got on base. They were who made the Astros win.
The problem is after their World Series experience.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was an experience so much as an ass
Bees.
whooping.
They did.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just saw the ball that Pujols hit come down in Russia. That was that 1 week. It finally came
They
down.
believed it was an American test.
It was
but
Albert Pujols slamming the hell out of Brad Lidge.
So,
But bad drafts have derailed. But bad drafts have been throughout the league. The league, like I said, we mentioned it. The
Bad
drafts-
owner, bad GM.
bad deals. Carlos Lee getting $100 million.
Yeah,
Oh my
wow.
gosh! And then you
Yeah.
can't get rid of him because you're
Nobody wants him.
nobody is
$100
taking
million.
that deal. You're going to have to eat that to get rid of him. So why not have him
Just play it out. And you know
something?
what? We're
Hey,
stuck
go
with
play
it.
DH. You're in the AL now.
I mean, look at this. And then you traded for Aubrey Huff. Aubrey Huff came in, played 68 games, gone. What was that?
They have no direction. I mean, you look at and we talked about the Texas Rangers earlier.
Yeah.
How they were a floundering team. They really were before Nolan Ryan stepped in.
Right.
Yeah.
And Nolan Ryan's Nolan Ryan. We love him here in Texas. He's a god. But he really turned that team around.
Right.
The Astros have to get a baseball somebody in there that knows baseball. Drake McClain didn't know shit. I'm sorry, he didn't.
I hear what you're saying.
And he ran that team into the ground.
Right.
They need. I don't know if and I'm throwing it out there if Biggio or Bagwell or any of the old time.
Biggio's not going anywhere.
Astros
He's
players.
a high school baseball coach in Houston now. He's got a very successful program.
So none of
he
them
loves what he's doing.
None of them want to really be involved. in the
Bagwell's still very involved with the team on an ambassador type level.
right, but he doesn't have the smart.
He likes what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wants more responsibility.
I mean,
we need to get a major general manager from a major team and build this program.
Yeah, you need to bring a baseball guy in.
Who was the last draft pick you guys had that actually produced? I mean, who seriously, can you name me the last draft pick that actually did something besides Chris Burke?
It probably goes back to Burke. I'm not going to count Chris Burke.
Well, Chris Burke did come in.
Chris Burke. I mean, he was
all right.
He's the last guy I would count.
But but even about the same thing. If we're looking at the last guy drafted, talking about is Chris Burke, there's a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Is you've had McClain up, and you have the new owners coming in,
right?
And you have a draft that's right there, sitting right there. And granted, drafts haven't been great, but this is a large market team. Houston is a large market.
It is.
If you were to tell me, who's a team that's not going to get the fans in the state, I would have said the Rangers.
Yeah.
Dallas is a
It is. They're wishy-washy fans. They're wishy-washy fans up in Dallas.
Very much so.
No, sorry, Dallas, but you are.
But I mean, just give it. I mean, that's
I don't know. They
what I'm
hold on
saying
the Cowboys
is
basketball.
Houston has nothing but baseball.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that
Well, Texans.
Houston had nothing but baseball.
Well, okay, that's
Houston's baseball heritage goes back
way back.
much farther than their football heritage.
Oh yeah,
and if you want to talk football, go Oilers. Okay. And that's the way Houston still feels as well.
But Houston should be operating like a large market team. That's like the large market team.
I don't think their attendance is down as far as
their
Astros
attendance
go.
is down.
Is it bad?
They dropped.
It's bad. Go watch a game. Okay.
I've been to games before.
They're still selling the season tickets. But if you actually go to a game these days, you go to a midweek game. Of course, the weekend games are going to be pretty good. You go to a midweek game, there's 10,000 people in the seats.
But they were averaging fifth in the NL in attendance. They're getting overridden by the Rangers. The rise of the Rangers has hurt Houston big time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Austin TV is now a Rangers market.
Yeah. Maybe they're too close to each other.
Even here, Fox Sports is going to show Rangers before they show Houston. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the last time I flipped through a channel and accidentally caught a Houston game.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the last time I flipped through and caught a Rangers game just by.
Yeah.
And then you go Fox Sports Network.
But would you have stopped on the Astros game anyway?
Surprisingly, I was an Astros fan. With Berkman and Biggio, I was an Astros fan.
They were fun to watch.
I'm still an Astros fan. I like and I will be.
And I think if you can find somebody to build the team,
I miss Astro.
And you got to.
The
market and the fan base is there, but you got to put a winner on the field.
I agree with that.
Which is going to be even more difficult now as you're moving out of the most mediocre conference in baseball to one of the hardest.
Yes.
I mean, you got to have to fight Texas every year. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, whatever the fuck they're called. That's a great team.
Prior to the show, I did the math, and unfortunately, I didn't write it down. But the average winning percentage in the AL West is about 10% higher than the NL Central.
Yeah. And that's bad enough because the Astros couldn't keep up in the Angels Central.
You're about to find that you're going to play almost every team in the AL.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you're worried about playing the Detroit Tigers, New York Yankees.
But I mean, you're gonna play. You're gonna play.
Baltimore seems to be on the verge.
The AL East is a whole other conversation. I'm scared.
Absolutely.
But you, as an Astros fan, you gotta understand they're coming into this thing going. Astros fans are hoping they're going to be the A&M of baseball and go in and do something great. But the talent on the field isn't the A&M caliber that they would have.
I think they have the fire.
Yeah.
They got the fire. I mean, they just don't have talent.
There's
fighters aren't there.
They're fielding a AAA team at best.
I mean, was it Wandy is your ace still? Is Wandy Rodriguez still your ace?
Unfortunately.
But Norris may be showing something, but I don't know. I mean, I think the Astros are a team that will always have their fan base. It's never going to die. It's going to fall off, and of course they'll bandwagon when they come back and win. But until you get an actual baseball guy in there, I don't see this team doing much.
I don't see
not much. I think it's going to be probably 10 years before the Astros are relevant again, based off the fact they've got to build from the ground up.
They have their
farm system. There really is no talent in the majors to go after as well to build a team from. In the meantime, there's talent in the majors, but there's not enough moving talent.
Most of the time, you're just going to pick up a bad contract.
It's going to be a process for the Astros. I mean, the Astros fans have been on a bumpy ride, and but you're ready for it to be a bumpy ride.
I anticipate another 110-plus loss season this year.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week. I'll fall back.